Okay, so I really need to explain how awkward my life is. So I'm walking to this burger place and there's a guy sitting outside. I thought it was kind of weird. I was just walking and he's like sitting on the floor with his dog. Like he's sitting outside on the ground. Like his butt was touching the ground. And he had a dog on a leash. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. I like noticed this guy was sitting outside. So I go inside, whatever, order my food, sit down with because I'm studying for finals. So I sit down in the chair. There were no available booths. So, well, there was one left. So I sit in that booth because I like sitting in the booth opposed to like a table with a chair. And because I'm going to be there studying for a while. So I sit down with my stuff, waiting for my food because they give you those little buzzer things. So they gave me the buzzer, I sat down, started studying, and then my buzzer rang, so I went to go up to get my food. So I leave my notes there to like mark my territory, because obviously if you put your stuff there, people are going to know someone's sitting there and they're not going to sit there. So that's what I was doing. So I go up, get my food, and I didn't get to go sit down right away. The lady was like, oh, we're waiting a second for your milkshake. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I wait. And I'm thinking, like, in the back of my mind, if someone steals that notebook, my life is over, because that's everything I need to know for my finals. And I was like freaking out, but I'm like, who would do that? So I go back to the table, like, okay, good, my notes are there. But the guy is sitting in the opposite side of the booth. And I was like, oh, I went up to him and I was like, oh, sorry, I was sitting here. And I sit down, like, you know, that's kind of like a cue for somebody to, shit, I'm like getting run over. It's like a cue for someone to leave. Like, if your stuff is there and you're coming back and you're sitting down, then they should know. But no, he like didn't get the hint. And I'm like, well, I was like trying to be nice and whatever. I was like, okay, well, you can sit here, because I thought he was just gonna sit there for a second and then get up or something. I was like, I mean, okay, you can sit here if you want to. Like, I'm not gonna like force you to leave. So we both sit there in like awkward silence for a few seconds. And he's like, what school do you go to? I'm like, City College. And it was just so awkward. And I was like, I can't handle like the awkwardness of this situation right now. So I got up and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go sit. I was like, okay, because he had a dog on a leash in this restaurant place. I'm like, you can't even have dogs in here. And the dog, I felt it like sniffing at my feet and stuff. Like the dog was coming up to me. And I could not focus at all. I was thinking, okay, I'll just sit here and he can just sit there and we can like be separate. But obviously that's not gonna work. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go sit on the opposite side. This is so awkward. Kill me now. Like, I just had to get myself out of the situation. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, dude, like he had some kind of social, like you don't do that. Like when you're in these kind of situations and you don't know what to do or say, like I just run. I'm like, okay, bye, and I just leave. Like, there's nothing else you can do. Story of my life. I could literally make a whole series of like awkward stories. That's a good idea. Encounters, weird people that I randomly meet. So then I sat on the opposite side and I was paranoid the whole time that he was gonna like come over and sit with me or something. I was like, at the corner of my eye, I would like see someone approaching and then I'd be like, okay, please don't let it be him. Oh, you know what's crazy? I live next to the Apollo Theater and I've never been there. This place, they have like shows and stuff. But yeah, so awkward. Like, why is my life so awkward? What did I do to deserve this? Like, what did I do? Like, why me? Like, bother somebody else. Like, I was clearly not interested in having any kind of conversation or anything with this person, especially when I have finals. One of the reasons I had to leave was this guy who was sitting across from me smelled like a disgusting mix of BO, like body odor and cigarettes. Like people who, like you can smell it. And I was just like, ugh, that smell. And like now, if you watch my video about my incident that happened or whatever, that guy smelled like that. Like every time I smell a cigarette smell, it like brings back memories of that. So I'm just like, I hate that smell. I'll be walking down the street and smell it and I'm just like, oh, like, ugh. like the creepy, disgusting smell. And it's everywhere. It's so gross. Oh yeah, also, I don't know if I remember to say this, but worst part of it all was that the whole time there was a guy sitting across from me and he like witnessed the entire thing. And as I was getting up, he was like, awkward, and I was like, right? And then I felt kind of bad for the guy who was sitting across because I was like, I just made fun of this awkward guy in front of his face. But it was just so weird. Like, people need to learn social manners. Like, you don't just do that. Like, I get on a normal day, it'd be like a cute way to meet someone, like, oh, you're sitting here, oh, okay, you can sit with me, yeah. But like, okay, listen, I'm not in the mood and I have finals, so don't talk to me, don't bother me, don't sit with me, let me study, like, yeah. So awkward.